Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out on a cold, miserable, rainy night. This is Florida, right? We are in Florida. Sometimes have to think about it. My name's Cliff Winder. I'm president of POA. First on our agenda is we're going to stand for a pledge to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence for our first responders and our military personnel and our great sheriff's department. Thank you. Please be seated. When we get to the part where you're going to ask questions, please wait until somebody comes with a microphone, because we video record our meetings and then post them on our website and on YouTube and on Facebook, so you can see them anytime you want to see them. But we need to be able to hear you, and the only way we can do that is if you talk into the mic. Next is reading of our December. Okay, December meeting by our Secretary, Reb Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Cliff. Good evening, everybody. So last month, who we had talk about was how warm it is here in Florida. No, I'm just joking with you all, okay? Anyhow, we just sort of cover some of the highlights as far as our minutes, so then we can say we recorded them and had our membership agree with it. So last month, what we did is first we had the POA directors for 2025 were administered the oath of office by Len Hathaway. Then we had some announcements associated that I thought wanted to bring up, and that was that Cliff presented a POA Hall of Fame plaque to Craig Estep, stating Craig had done so much for the villages in Sumter County, first as a District 1 supervisor, then as a Sumter County commissioner. Then we also presented a Hall of Fame plaque to Jerry Ricilla right here on the board, because at the time he was looking to take some time off from the board after being on the board since 2010, I believe. But then he decided that he'd continue to help us out, because we're always looking for board members, so he decided to stay on the board after all. So he might be the first person with a Hall of Fame plaque and still on the board. No. Anyhow, after that we had a couple questions that I thought were worth bringing up. One was a change to gate readers. Will something be available to not have to open the window? Answer, eventually yes. District management is on their third system now, testing to see if it works properly. I have trouble finding something that works with all the gate readers. Anything being done about speeding in the villages? Yes, but even more can be done. Did get Morris Boulevard from 466 up to El Camino Real lowered to 30 miles an hour a while back, and the non-permanent flashing speed signs have helped slow the traffic some. Still an issue, though, and will need further patrolling, and I'm sure something that might be discussed a little bit tonight with the Sumter County Sheriff right here, between our new sheriff and his staff. Anyhow, another issue was solving the multimodal path, what the group is looking at doing, and the biggest one was safety, and I think Cliff will talk a little bit about that since they had a meeting today on that. Then we had our speaker was the senior event coordinator at Charter Research, and provided a presentation on investing in yourself and your health, then on Alzheimer's and the research that is being accomplished. And I'm sure you've seen a lot between the paper and notices and all that obviously a community that we live in, it's a target-rich environment to look at different research methods, and of course Alzheimer's being one of them. That's good that we got a lot of folks that are trying to participate in that to help see how we can improve the ability to have medical capability to help Alzheimer's. First, you talked about investing in self, promote well-being, stop smoking, etc., minimize chronic illnesses. 95% of folks have a chance of one illness, and 80% have a chance of two or more of the 10 chronic known illnesses, which is diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, arthritis, high cholesterol, and etc. I didn't know it was that high. Then invest in health, focus on body composition, not just weight, and a few other things associated with that. Then talked about memory screening, free at Charter Research, establish a baseline and use to see if you are a candidate for various Alzheimer's studies at Charter Research. It can be done in person or online. Their next screening event, unless it's changed, is January 30th from 8 to 11:30 here in Laurel Manor. And Cliff may cover that a little bit more. Charter Research has various ongoing Alzheimer's trials. Primary studies look at decreasing existing conditions, while others look at preventative methods. The benefits? Well, with Charter Research, it's all free. It's a research program, and you are compensated for your time. Without people accomplishing trials, we would not see the drugs that we take for granted now, such as ibuprofen. Some of the questions: how is Charter Research funded? It's a research program, and they're funded by federal or pharmaceutical grants. Charter is a private company, so they are funded by pharmaceutical grants. Do you offer other related trials? Answer: we mainly address Alzheimer's-related research, but are also starting a trial in Lewy bodies. Should I get a memory test even though I'm in my early 50s? Answer: FDA says folks above 60 should have a memory scan once a year, but you can have one done even in your 50s to at least establish a baseline. And that was the basically from our last meeting.
Thanks, Rep. Before I ask for approval of the minutes, let me say that he mentioned they were going to have a screening here on January 30th. Unfortunately, the wall that separates those two rooms next door needs to be wallpapered. It should have been wallpapered when this facility was closed 6 months ago, and for some reason it didn't get done. So it's being done on that day, actually being done on 3 days. So that meeting got canceled, just so you know, and I'm trying to reschedule it for them. Right now, it's really difficult to get a room at a rec center because we're in the high season with all this and over. So I don't want anybody, we'll make it up somehow. So just so you know. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Jerry. Second? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Well, the president messed up. I forgot to bring the treasurer's report because I've been at meetings all day today, and I mean all day, from 9 o'clock this morning, and I'm here. I got to see my wife for about a half hour today. So I left it sitting on my desk, but I can tell you that we've had the best 2 months that we've had in a long time, because January and February and December are the months most of our advertisers come due for that advertise in our bulletin. So we've taken in about, and I'm just quoting figures, about $65,000 since December. And that doesn't count dues. So that goes a long way. I know a couple of you shaking your head. It costs us $200,000 to publish the bulletin a year. So that's only a drop in the bucket. But anyways, we've had a couple of good months. Okay, something I started doing, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months ago, is introducing people that might be on different district boards or doing things to make this community better. So, sitting at the table, Jerry Ferlisi is a District 5 supervisor. Raise your hand. And Dan Warren is on the NSCUD board. And in the back, our secretary is on the AAC. Sitting in the first row, Patsy, raise your hand. Patsy's a District 1 supervisor. Ron's a District 2 supervisor. Mark's a District 4 supervisor. I don't think I forgot anybody. If I did, raise your hand. And I'm a District 4 supervisor. So these are some of the people that work for you every single day. On March 29th, we're having our annual shredding event. You must be a paid-up member. Your dues need to be current as of March 29th. When they are, just send a request, and we'll send you back a ticket. I will tell you that as of tonight, we have about 700 tickets that we've issued. We can handle somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100. So we still got almost 2 months. So if you're interested, if you're not a member, just pay $15 dues, be a member, help us, and you can get a ticket. It's a great event. The stuff is shredded on site. They don't take it somewhere. You can watch it get shredded if you want. So we've been doing this now for 7 years, and we will probably have 4 shredding trucks, which will probably shred somewhere between 45 and 50,000 pounds of paper. So you don't have your valuable information stolen, because I just got a scam email today. It never ends. Every day, every day. I'm getting good at finding out which ones they are, though, before I answer them. As I said before, so that's coming up on March 29th. Our meetings are video recorded. You can go on our website, you can go on YouTube, you can go on our Facebook page, and it will be posted tomorrow, because Mike will probably send me the video sometime tonight or tomorrow. And they're being live streamed. So if you can't come to the meeting, or it's snowing out and you don't want to go out in the snow, you can always watch it on our Facebook page. It's not, you're laughing, Mike, they're talking about snow in the panhandle. So, I usually talk about the vial of life, but I'm not today because I know you guys are. As you're well aware, we give out lots of those for you. Great program. We're not having a cash raffle tonight because people came in late and we didn't know if it would even be worthwhile. So now we're going to have our open forum. If you have a question, you can ask us. I will try and answer it for you or get you an answer if we don't have one. Just raise your hand and someone will come around with a microphone. Right there, Jeff.
Where do you do the shredding at?
The shredding's being done at the New Covenant Methodist Church on Woodridge behind Publix on 466.
Yeah, I was just wondering if any word got out on the lamp posts.
I didn't hear the first part.
About the lamp posts.
You talk about the street lights?
Yeah, street lights.
Well, SECO is going to be, as if you were at our meeting last month, as they explained, they were given grants and low interest loans in the amount of $140 million. So part of the cost of the raise that we got for the street lights that we own were that they have to be changed from high pressure sodiums to LED lights by 2029 by federal mandate. High pressure sodiums aren't going to be allowed to be used anymore. So that seems to be the biggest cost. They are having a meeting sometime in the end of February or beginning of March to reevaluate what they have and what they can do, if anything, to help the districts, because this year the districts only paid half of the increase and the other half will become due in 2026, 2025, 2026. So we really don't know where it's going to go yet. They said at our meeting that they would work with us if we could get a meeting set up with district supervisors, district staff, and SECO. And I'm working on that, but it's not quite as easy as you would anticipate. And we won't go into why or why not, but we're going to pursue it because I think it's important that we all get together and talk about this, because I can only speak about my district. Well, I can't. I can speak about other districts, but my district's raise was about $400,000 over what we paid last year. That's absolutely ludicrous. So we have to come up with some kind of solution to make this feasible for all districts and all residents, because the districts that are gonna absorb this, there's only two ways they can get the money to pay it, and it's take it out of the reserves or raise your maintenance fees. There's no other way. So that's going to be a pretty big hit on some districts. Some districts only have a few poles. Some districts, like District 4, have 900 poles. And there are other districts. District 10 has a lot of poles. So we're gonna see where it goes. Not panicking yet, and by the way, just so you know, if you live north of 466, SECO's having an election on February 5th between 4 and 7 o'clock at Savannah Center for their trustees. One trustee, the one trustee that would represent us that live between 42 and 466 or 466A. So far, I know there's 2 that are running. The gentleman that's in office now, and somebody's filed with SECO to run against him, and there might be more. So if you have an interest, go and vote. Every homeowner that owns a home within those parameters is eligible to vote for our trustee. I just want everybody to hear you.
Yeah, I got a letter saying I was eligible to vote and I should go up there, and there was a raffle and there was going to be all kinds of
Yeah,
good
there's all
things.
kinds of things.
Yeah, but I'm in 7. So I don't know why I got the letter.
No, District 7 is north of 466A.
Right.
The trustee that we're voting for, SECO has 9 trustees. They cover much more than the villages. They cover Ocala, they cover parts of Hernando and Citrus County.
Okay.
There are 9 trustees. We're only voting for the one that represents us.
Okay.
So it's really important that you go and vote.
Okay, we'll do. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Where do I find out what district I'm in?
What village you live in?
Newell.
Pardon?
Newell.
14.
14?
Yes.
Thank you.
See how fast I read it up?
One over here.
My wife thinks I'm crazy.
Have the districts, either individually or together, sought out some alternatives to the SECO for either solar lighting or for some other alternative than to pay these big increases?
Yeah, District 2 and District 7 are both looking at alternatives. District 7 is looking at strictly going solar, and they have put out a proposal to bid so that they can get some prices to see what it's going to cost. District 2 is looking at that option, plus maybe, because District 2 only has, I believe, 85 or 86 poles. They're in a different situation, so they're looking maybe to just put in their own lights with their own poles, not be solar, but that would involve SECO letting them buy the infrastructure, the wiring, which probably is never going to happen. But they are looking, and the rest of the districts, mine included, is just sitting back and waiting to see what happens, because we don't want to make a rash decision, and if solar's the way to go and it's feasibly reasonable, you can get a better deal if everybody does it, and that's probably what will happen, because all the districts are in the same position. We're all looking to save money and not have to pay that increase.
Patsy Oburn, had a conversation today with a gentleman about what 2 is doing. I just want to share with you my concerns with going with the solar. I would like a thorough review on what the entire existing process is and what the contracts are that we have in place right now. I have not seen, and I requested the contracts, and they're like a page and a half long, and they date 1996. So before anybody makes a decision, there needs to be a review on what is the existing work that we have been paying for with the rental agreements, and if they're going to make a switch, whether they're going to look at the alternative of solar or something else, what is the entire cost of the life cycle of that? You can say, well, I'm going to buy the pole from SECO. Okay, I'm going to have it appraised. I'm going to buy the pole from SECO, and it only is going to cost me, several $1,000s to put a solar light on it. Okay, but if you don't look at the whole picture of that, who's going to take care of the poles? Who's going to go around and when that solar light isn't working? And right now, do you think we would have any light working if they're solar? My solar tubes in my house are not working right now. So I'm just really pushing from my perspective and my seat that before we make a decision, I'd like to understand what was supposed to be happening, okay, based on the existing contracts. Were they, in fact, doing what they were supposed to be doing? Then look at the increase and say, okay, who's going to bear the brunt of that if we're going to continue in this relationship. I would just caution people to not jump on a bandwagon simply because it sounds exciting or exotic, you know, let's shift to social or solar, without looking at all of the consequences. And one of the other things that will happen with that is I want you to think about how many customer complaints are going to happen when the people are driving around and there's no lights on. So that's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Let me say that I sort of agree with Patsy on what she's saying, because my career was, I was an electrician for 41 years. I installed thousands of these poles on freeways and roadways all over the United States. There's a lot more involved than we know about, or that most of the people on the boards know about. Maintenance is going to be a killer, absolutely killer. And I think we have to do a lot more investigating before we make a decision on something that once we go forward, there's no turning back. So it's a complicated issue that I think is going to take a lot of work, and that's why I think it's so important, especially if anybody on staff is watching this live stream, which I'm sure they are, that we have the meeting that I've requested with SECO and the Board of Supervisors from every district to try to iron out some of these problems. And I will continue to try to push for that. Okay, with that being said, our speaker next month is going to be talking about coping with dementia, which is unfortunately a big deal here in the villages. And in March, our speaker is going to be the hospital, who comes every March, and we'll see if they've done any of the things that we recorded last March when they were here and promised to try to fix. So I will be reviewing that so I can ask some questions. And that's a good thing about recording our meetings, because we can go back and look at them and see what people said. April, I'm not sure about yet. And but I will tell you that it's either going to be in April or if not in April, in May. Dr. Craig Curtis, who's also a research doctor here in the villages, and he works for K2 Medical, will be doing a presentation on some exciting new things that they've done for Alzheimer's. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but I am telling you, you don't want to miss this, because I've had a long talk with him about it. And he was here 14 months ago, I think, 15 months ago. I think it was last January, and talked about the new drug that they got out that slows the progression of Alzheimer's. Well, the news he's got now supposedly is even better. So I think it's something we all need to see, because Alzheimer's is really a bad thing that we have to live with. With that being said, it's with my great pleasure that I present our brand new sheriff, who's been sheriff now for 2 weeks. See that? And Pat Breeden, and the rest of his staff, Captain Seamer and Sergeant Dodd. So it's yours, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks, Cliff. Thank y'all for having us here tonight, and it's always an honor to be here. Well, it is exactly about 2 weeks into my term, so looking forward to getting things going. Got a lot of great things I want to do, some plans I want to do, obviously. Tonight, Captain Seamer is going to tell you about the SAFE program. That's a program we started back when I was still under sheriff and prior to that, but we've done a lot of enhancement on it. But what I want to talk about just briefly tonight is, for us to be successful, and that's why I appreciate all the faces out here, is communication is key. And so is transparency. And that's what I ran on, and that's what I believe in. Some ways I believe in transparency is all our deputies, including our detention staff, I've equipped them all with body-worn cameras, and I'm currently in the process of putting a camera in every patrol car that is out on the streets. So we hide nothing from anybody. Communication is just meetings exactly like this. We show up and hear what the problems are and what we need to work on. One of the problems I often heard was traffic and speed-related issues. I'm working on that, a new program that I just purchased that allows us to work on problem areas. And I will tell you, Cliff, that North Morris is one of the areas that popped up on this new program we have. It's a program called Urban SDK, and what it does is it highlights areas within the county to where we need to focus our patrol efforts. Right now, there's 5 top areas in the county, or the villages north being one of them, North Morris, 466, and some more in the south end of the county. So I know where to send my traffic units when we have an enforcement problem, along with the trailers that we continue to put out, and we budget for and add more trailers every year. So doing a lot of great things. I want to hear from the community. I'm sure we'll give you all a chance to ask some questions in a little while. At this time, though, I want to turn it over to Captain Seymour. He's going to tell you about the SAFE program. I urge everyone to take a look at this program because it does. If it saves one life a year, it's worth everything we do. It's totally free of charge. There's a lot of great stuff in here. A lot of you probably heard this before, but it continues to get enhanced, and we're going to continue to enhance it, such as the Vial of Life, stuff like that. So how many's heard of the Vial of Life? So see, it's getting out there, and we're spreading the word, but you're going to hear about it tonight. So Captain Seymour, he is your village district commander. He's been up here for a long time. I think his name is about a household name up here. So, but he works great, and he's located at 466 in Morris, right there in the annex. You can find him or Sergeant Dodge anytime you're by that way, and we'll stop in and say, hey, come by and visit. So I'm going to turn it over to Captain Seymour, and he's going to tell you about the SAFE program.
Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate that. Again, yes, I'm Captain Seymour with Sumter County Sheriff's Office, and I want to talk to you guys about our non-traditional law enforcement stuff. Everybody knows what traditional law enforcement is. If you call 911, you'll get a deputy at your house. If you're going a little too fast, you might get the red and blues in your rearview mirror. But we also do non-traditional stuff as well, and that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about. Did everybody get a bag? Did anybody not get a bag? Oop, got one. A couple of them. Okay, first thing I'd like to talk about, inside your bag, there's a vial that looks like this. I need a sample from each and every one of you before you leave. Just stick it up. I'm just kidding. I did that to a men's group one time. Half of them got up and started walking out. I was like, where are you going? I'm kidding. Come back. That actually goes along with this paperwork for the Vial of Life program. What we ask you to do is on the second page of this, there's enough room for two people in a household, top and bottom. What we ask you to do is fill it out and just put anything in, all the information you would like us to know about you if something medically happened to you. If if you had a heart attack or stroke and you couldn't talk to us, what kind of information would you like us to have as first responders? Maybe what kind of medications you take. Who's your doctors? You may want to put in here that, hey, if I ever get shipped off to the hospital, please call one of my kids and let them know that I'm okay and give us a number. If you live with someone that has Alzheimer's or dementia or some type of special needs, please put that on here as well, because the last thing we'd want to do is to come to your house, treat you and take you away to the hospital and leave somebody there at the household that may have some type of issues that we shouldn't leave them. If you have any pets at home, dogs, cats, things like that, please put that in here and say, hey, if I get rushed off to the hospital and there's nobody else in the household, please call my neighbor because they'll agree to watch my animal. And then what we ask you to do is take that piece of paper, you roll it up, and you place it inside this vial. And then we ask you to take the vial and place it in your refrigerator. We do ask you to put it in your refrigerator door. That way, if you stick it on the shelf, all the food left over will push it all the way to the back. We'll be digging through your refrigerator trying to find it. There's a sticker and a magnet in here as well. We ask you to take the sticker and place it on your front door. The magnet you place on your refrigerator. All of our first responders in our county know to look for this sticker if we come to your house for a medical emergency. Does everybody here live in Sumter County? Or do we have any Marion County folks here? What about Lake County folks? Okay, good. Marion County has a similar program, but it's called the File of Life, and you'll have to get it from them. Basically, it's the same thing, but it's a clear envelope that has a magnet on the back, and they want you to put it on the refrigerator door. Now, Lake County has the exact same program. Bottles and everything are identical. Ours is better, of course. Just kidding. Just because it's a Sumter County on it. So we're also encouraging people, if you want, put one of these inside your car, your glove box, or maybe in your golf cart. We're finding these in women's purses. That way, if something medically happened to you while you got a bad crash, let's say, and we have to ship you off to the hospital, and when we get there, we'll always go through your glove box looking for your registration, proof of insurance, things of that nature. If we come across this, it's been very helpful for the EMS folks to know what kind of problems are going on. So it's got a lot of usage. I'll tell you what, a lot of people are using it. Who has this already? Anybody? Oh, quite a few people. Good. Very good. All right. The next thing I'd like to talk to you guys about, now this one is not actually inside of your bag because this does not pertain to everybody, but this is our Peace of Mind program. This program is designed for people who live alone. They just need to be checked on once a day. These are people that can live just all by themselves without a problem, but if they ever fell on the ground, they would have a hard time getting themselves back up on their feet. I'll tell you what, we have 100 people in this program, and we probably save 3 lives a year with this. All we do is ask you to call us every morning and say, hey, that's me. I just want to let you know I'm okay. We'll check you off the list, and you guys go about your merry way. If you don't call us, though, we will come find you. We do ask you for a key holder, somebody in the neighborhood that has a key to your house so we can get in case we can't get a hold of you, and just to come check on you. The last one that I was involved in where somebody didn't call in, this lady used to call in every morning at 9 o'clock. You could set your watch to it. I think she sat there with a phone and wait till it was 9 o'clock exactly to call us. She didn't call in one day. I said, well, that's kind of weird. So we tried to call her. She didn't answer. So we called her key holder and said, hey, do you know where she's at? They said, oh, no, she should be home. I just spoke to her yesterday. She's fine. And so I asked the key holder, please meet me at the house. So I went over there with them. We knocked on the door, rang the doorbell. No answer. So we used the key to let ourselves in. We actually found her in the bathtub. She got up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, and when she turned to go back, she slipped and fell into the tub and couldn't get herself back out. So there's a perfect example of how this is a great, great thing. And she did tell me when we got her out of the tub, she says, you know, I have a daughter, and I talk to my daughter once a week, and I just spoke to her yesterday. She says, was really starting to getting concerned lying in that bathtub because there's a potential I would have laid in that bathtub all week before anybody started worried about me. So it's a great program. We have about 100 people on it. If you're interested or know somebody in your neighborhood that would be interested in this, please come see us. We have plenty of these forms. We'll get them to you. Okay? Do this one next. Our sheriff's office actually sent a handful of people to school to learn how to make your home safer. So we offer a free home security inspection. It takes about 45 minutes to do one. We do them Monday through Friday from the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. If you're interested in a free home security inspection, just call us. We'll set up a day and a time that's convenient for you. And the deputy will come out there and they'll talk about lighting and shrubbery. They'll come in and check your window locks and your door locks. And it's actually something really cool. I'm actually not certified in it, but I've been with the guys when they have done it. And one of the things that I really like is a peephole. Does everybody know what a peephole is? They used to have when we had solid doors. You look at it, and you see a 180-degree view outside. They're talking about installing one of those from your laundry room, the door that goes from your laundry room to your garage. That's a fireproof, hardened door. So if somebody ever broke into your house and got into your garage, instead of opening that door and exposing yourself to a potential danger, you could just shut that door and lock it and look through the peephole to see what's out there. Some people are actually also, in conjunction with that, installing motion-activated lights in case it's at nighttime and it dark. So you just look out there and you see somebody in the garage. I'm going to tell a story, but I hate telling the story because I'm afraid this person's in the room and they're going to throw something at me because I told the story on them. But I'm going to tell it anyways. We had a lady. She woke up in the middle of the night. She thought she heard somebody in her garage. She carried a revolver in her nightstand. She got up. She went into the laundry room and fired all 6 shots right through that door. She killed her car. She knocked the windows out of it and everything. There was nobody in there. But the good thing for her, she's got 6 peepholes now. She just find one that she could see out of. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office does not recommend putting peepholes in that manner. But if you're interested in a free home security inspection, I think you guys will like it. There's a lot of neat stuff that these guys learn through that class. One thing that they learn as well is a deadbolt. Everybody thinks, hey, if I lock my deadbolt, my door's secured, right? The problem is if that hole's not drilled deep enough into the frame, you could actually work that bolt back into the door and open it back up. If you know anything about deadbolts, and if you want to know what I'm talking about, when you go home tonight, open your front door, lock your deadbolt just a little bit, you take your finger and just push it right back in. But if you throw it all the way to the end, it'll actually lock so you can no longer do that. So if that hole's not drilled deep enough, you can take a pocket knife or a small screwdriver, just sit there and work that bolt back in and actually open your front door. So that's something else that the deputies will check while they're there as well. So highly recommend it. We will do it at your convenience, do them Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and takes about 45 minutes. Yep, it'll actually click when it locks all the way. Mm-hmm. Right. Cliff just said he's tried it at home, and if you don't go all the way with it till it clicks, he can get it back in there. So keep that in mind. Next thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is our county sheriffs and all of our counties in the state of Florida, we really do a really good job of sharing what works well and what doesn't work very well. And we read an article in a magazine, a sheriff's magazine, that was talking about this box that I'm holding, and I'll tell you a little bit about it in a little bit. But one of the problems that we really understand is people with Alzheimer's and dementia. It is so important if somebody takes off away from their caretaker. It's so important to get that person back and get them back to their loved ones. We understand that those people are in grave danger out there in the world by themselves, and we take that very seriously. We'll call in overtime. We'll get the helicopter out, all our canines out to help out. And one day we read in a magazine where it was Citrus County. They had a husband and wife. The husband had Alzheimer's, and he had wandered off. She called 911. They had 25 deputies there with the helicopter and the canines, and they just couldn't find the guy. When they get into that state where they wander off, they're scared. They don't know what's going on, and I can only imagine what that poor guy was feeling inside, just being scared to death with that helicopter and the sirens and the lights and the radios going off. He was actually petrified. So you can't walk down the street and go, "Hey, Joe, come on back. We need you to come home." You have to physically go find them and bring them back home. And so they were looking for this guy for several hours, couldn't find him. A couple hours into it, the wife remembers she did this. And she says, "Hey, I got this box here that we did years ago. Will this help?" They presented it to the canine, and they went and found the guy. He was 2 doors down, hiding in the shrubbery. So it was fantastic. So we seen that. We said, "Hey, this is great. We need to get this at the Sumter County Sheriff's Office." The Alzheimer's Association estimates our population that has Alzheimer's just here in the villages is about 10%. So, but before I tell you what's inside the box, I want to tell you about the different types of canines we have at our agency. We have the shepherd dogs, and shepherd dogs are great for what they're designed for. Those are the dogs that when we chase somebody, the bad guy runs, we put them out there, they run down, and they bite the bad guy, and we put them in jail. They're great for that. The problem is they smell the freshest scent. So if you have a long distance time from somebody wandering off with all the people that are walking across that scent trail, it's a good possibility that the shepherd dog will actually take a different route and not stay on the right trail. We also have bloodhounds, by the way. Now, bloodhounds, you could give them one scent and they'll know exactly who they're looking for. They won't deviate from that. So what we ask you to do, and historically, if your loved one does wander off, what we'll do is we'll come to your house and we'd ask you for a scent article, maybe a T-shirt that the person was wearing or the pillowcase the person was sleeping on, put it in a brown paper bag, present it to the bloodhound, and then they would know who to go look for. The problem with having that type of scent article is it's a contaminated odor. Just us being in this room together, we have each other's scent on us. So this is a great way to get one pure scent off of a person. So inside of it, there's a double insulated glass jar that is sterile, so don't open this until you get ready to use it. Looks like this. It also comes with a sterile pad. You get it out of the box. What we ask you is take your loved one and have them wipe this all over their body and get as much scent as you possibly can. And then you would place it inside this vial. And there's a form that goes on, or a sticker that goes on the front of it. You put their name, their age, the date it was collected. The reason that's important, this is actually guaranteed to be good for 7 years. And we do understand that some people with Alzheimer's couldn't accomplish this by themselves and need some help. So there's also a pair of latex gloves that comes along with it. We ask you to wear those and help the person do this. But if you have to help them, put where it says person that collected the scent, put your name as well. That way, just in case your scent ends up in there with the bottle, that canine handler will absolutely know that, hey, there's a potential, there's 2 scents in there, and they have a ways to eliminate the other scent. Then we ask you to just place it inside of in a pantry or a refrigerator. And if your loved one does come up missing, call us, let us know you have one of these, and we'll get the bloodhound up there and give them this when they get there. It's been a great tool for us. Matter of fact, our bloodhound guys, if they come to your house and you don't have one, they'll actually make one of these because they love using them. They work very well. And what they'll do is they'll take that pad and maybe put it in the person's shoe and try to scrub some scent off of it and use it. So very, very successful. Other things that we did is we wrote a grant, and we are only one of 5 counties in the United States to get awarded some grant money. And we took that money, we bought GPS watches. And what's so great about that, it has taken our calls for service for looking for people that have Alzheimer's that have wandered off, and has actually cut it in half. I think you're the one that actually brought that part of it too. Our sheriff is the one that actually came up with this idea to write this grant, and it has been fantastic. We don't have to bring the helicopter out anymore. The loved ones are actually finding their own. The caretakers are finding their loved ones on their own, because with that GPS watch, we give you an app that you download on your smartphone, and you just hit a locate button, and they're finding their own people right away, and it's just been fantastic for us. Yes, he sure did. Matter of fact, you mind if I tell that story? Husband and wife. The husband had Alzheimer's. Yeah, she wandered off. They woke up in the morning, and she noticed that he was gone. He was no longer in the house. He had wandered off. He was wearing one of our watches. So she opened the app up. She hit locate, and it brought her out into the golf course off of one of the golf cart paths. She gets there, and she can't find him. She's like, oh, my God, this thing's not working. So she comes back home. She calls us. Sergeant Dodge had actually showed up to the scene. He took her phone and followed it to the same place she was at. What had happened is the guy had fallen and rolled down a hill into some shrubbery, and she just couldn't see him. Sergeant Dodge actually found the guy, got him home. He was okay. So it's a very successful program. I mean, anytime you could take your calls for service and cut them in half with something this easy, that's a no-brainer. It's just fantastic. Yeah, most of the time when we have our average fine time is about 45 minutes to an hour, because what would happen is, historically, the caretaker would say, my husband or my wife is missing. I don't know where they're at. They say, well, maybe he went to the postal station, because we go there every day, and then they go there. And they say, well, he's not here. Well, maybe he went to his friend's house, Jim's house, and they'll go there, and she's not there. And then after a while, they start panicking, and about 30 to 40 minutes, they start panicking, going, oh, my God, my loved one is truly missing. And then they would call us, and we'd have to go out and try to find them. And we have done everything. We've called in deputies. We're off. We've brought the helicopter out there. We take it very seriously. We will find the person. So knock on wood, I don't think we've had anybody in the villages that wandered off on foot that ever had any harm to them. So that's good. The next thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is this. Did you guys know that the sheriff's office has an app? Does anybody have our app? All right, quite a few people. That's a good thing. On our app, you could check out our sheriff's office. You can submit tips. There's sex offenders. There's a most wanted list, and that's going to be funny here in a little bit when Sergeant Dodge talks to you a little bit about our crime rate. Inmate searches. You know, I said that to a group one time. I said, yeah, you could search inmates on here. Lady in the back, she says, oh, great, a dating site. I'm like, no, don't use this as a dating site. It's not a dating site. There's also another cool button on here. It's called the scam button, and Sergeant Dodge will talk to you a little bit more about scams. One of the biggest problems that we have in our county is scams. So what we have designed, or actually you did this one too, he had this put on there, our sheriff did. If you guys have a scam that you believe is a scam, you could actually submit it to this app. It is vetted by our white-collar crime detective, and once he verifies it, he'll put it out for everybody to read. That way you guys can, on your downtime, you can sit there and read all the different types of scams that are going on. And knowledge is power. If you know these scams are out there, you won't fall for them. So highly recommend doing that as well. We also have another button on here that you could search the crime in the areas as well. So what's that one called? Community crime app. So you could hit that button and you can see what kind of different crimes are going on in the different areas within our county. Sheriff Breeden always says, now when you open it up, there's going to be a big red spot over Bushnell. Bushnell is not crime-ridden. That's just where our jail's at. So just now here's something relatively new as well, is we have taken all these things that we do, under the SAFE program, we put it under an umbrella of the SAFE program. And inside of your bags, you'll see a green card like this. And there's QR codes on the back. You can scan those codes and an application will pop up. And we ask you to fill out the application of if you sign up for the Peace of Mind or the Vital Life or whatever the case may be, any one of these programs, you could actually fill it out and say, hey, I'm participating in all these different programs. What's good about that, we actually link it to your address, and if we ever get a 911 call to your house, as the deputies are going there, they could see that. It'll actually show up and go, hey, when you get there, there's going to be somebody in the house that has Alzheimer's, or they have a Vital Life, they're on the Vital Life program, so if it's for a medical call, you know when you get there, you can go straight to the refrigerator. It just gives the deputies more information as they come to your house. So. Here's something, this is actually a county program. It's not a Sumter County Sheriff's Office program, but I do like to share it. Anybody lived here back in 2007 by chance? Remember when the tornado came through the villages? Back then, we used to rely on weather boxes. And if you're anybody like me, in the middle of summertime, about 3 o'clock in the morning, when a bad storm comes through Marion County, it'll go off, scare you about half to death. Eventually, you'll unplug it and throw it in a drawer somewhere, and you'll never use it again. We knew there had to be something better out there. This is Alert Sumter. Now, if you live in Marion County, they actually partnered with all three of our counties, Lake, Sumter, and Marion, partnered together. We all went with this program. And if you're in Sumter County, it's Alert Sumter. If you're in Marion County, it's Alert Marion. And if you're in Lake County, it's Alert Lake. There's two ways you could do it. You could either go to the website that's on the bottom of the sheet of paper, and you could fill it out, and you could get messages for bad weather alerts through telephone calls, text messages, emails, however you want to get them. Or if you're like me and not that great with computers, you could always call that phone number on the bottom there, and they'll sign you up for you over the phone. Okay? All right. Well, that's what I would like to, that's my portion of talking. That's what I wanted to talk about. But I would like Sergeant Dodge to come up here, and he would like to discuss the crime in the villages. Yes, ma'am. Oh, the scent kits? You could come by our office at 466 and Morris Boulevard, and we'll sit down, and we'd love to talk to that person because we'd like to get all the stuff for Alzheimer's with you before you leave. So, Lake County actually, do they do the vial? I don't think Lake County people do the vial. That's correct. Yes, ma'am. You might want to get a hold of Lake County and talk to them and see what they have to offer. They may have something else to offer besides this. Okay? Yeah, we actually have a child version of this as well. I don't bring it here to the villages because most of you guys don't have little kids running around, but they do have a child version of this. It has a little booklet in it. You can do fingerprints. It comes with a little ink pad. You can take the child to the dentist that has a diagram of the teeth, and they can do their little thing. The doctor as well. There's a picture of a person standing there, and they can do their thing as well. So, and there's a spot where you could clip hair and attach it for DNA as well for the child one. Sure. Yes, we actually hold a, Cliff wanted me to talk about the academies that we have. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office does offer a Citizens Academy. It's actually going on right now. And that is fantastic because we take the 10-week program. It's from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We pick one day a week. Right now it's going on Tuesdays. And every Tuesday we meet somewhere, either at the rec center or we take you through the courthouse, we take you to the jail, and we basically take everything to the Sumter County Sheriff's Office and brings it to you and shows you what we do. You'd be surprised. I have never had anybody that was disappointed on taking that class. They did not realize what we have. We'll talk about every aspect of the Sheriff's Office and tell you what we do. We also have a mini academy as well. It's a 2-hour program. It's just a one-time 2-hour program. We take everything, condense it in a classroom, and give it to you guys as well. If you guys are interested in the Citizens Academy, please give our office a call and talk to Teresa, and she'll put you on the list. Matter of fact, today we went down to, where'd we go? Down the South office and talked to those guys. So it was pretty neat. Unfortunately, I was with Cliff this afternoon doing another meeting, so I didn't get to go. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sergeant Dodge.
Thank you, Captain. Good evening. Like I said, my name is Sergeant Adam Dodge with the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. We're going to talk to you about crimes that impact us here in the villages. There are two major types of crime which impact us most here in the villages. Any idea, guess what they might be? Scams. Scams is one. Any idea what the other might be? A theft. We call it a theft of opportunity, right? A crime of opportunity, okay? If you went out to dinner, you likely wouldn't take your pocketbook and set it on the table and go to the restroom and come back and hope it's there, right? That pocketbook will grow legs and walk away, won't it? Right? We ask you to use those same common sense and make those smart decisions to keep from becoming a victim of a crime of opportunity, right? We recommend you not leave your golf clubs on the back of your golf cart and drive down to the square and go see a movie and come back in 2 hours and hope that your driver hasn't grown legs and walked away, right? Sometimes we have young people that come through our communities that they walk down the street and they'll pull on car door handles and they're just looking for an unlocked car. By making a smart decision and making sure your vehicle's secured outside, we preach something we call the 9 p.m. routine. We say at 9 p.m. or before you go to bed, make sure your garage door's down. Make sure your car's locked if it's parked outside. That way, when they come through, if these young people come down your street and they pull on your car door handle, if it's locked, they're not going to bust your window and rummage through it. They're just going to go and find another vehicle, like that it's unlocked. It's unfortunate, but it's something that we see. If they get into your car, they'll rummage through. They're looking for spare change or sunglasses, a GPS, something like that. If they find a firearm, they will take that. If they find keys to the car, which we see periodically, they will take the car. They'll leave with the car itself. So by making those smart decisions, we can avoid becoming a victim of those types of crimes. Scams. Can we share a secret with you? If you did not enter the Nigerian lottery, you did not win the Nigerian lottery, okay? It sounds kind of silly, but we have people who are contacted. And this community, I believe, is targeted because your generation, you're part of a generation where you look people in the eyes and you shook hands and what you said you were going to do is what you were going to do. And unfortunately, there are people that want to take advantage of that. And they will find a way to cajole you into believing them and believing the situation that they're presenting to you, right? Has anyone ever paid a bill in Home Depot gift cards? Sounds strange, right? But sometimes people are contacted. They say, we're going to cut your internet. This is your internet provider. We're going to cut your bill in half, but you need to send us $1,000 today in Home Depot gift cards. And some people say, my luck has changed. I'm going to go get Home Depot gift cards, right? Periodically, so my spouse, when she purchases gift cards for her employer, oftentimes they will stop a transaction and ask her, and they'll say, why are you purchasing these gift cards? And when I hear that, that's always great to hear. We've worked with local retailers that when they see someone who's in there purchasing gift cards, especially in a large amount, to stop and ask this person, why are you buying these gift cards? Are you on the phone with someone? Has someone sent you to purchase these gift cards? We've worked with retailers, Publix, Walmart, those stores here in our community to help identify these people that might be the victim of a scam, right? I was contacted recently by my bank. Chase Bank contacted me, said there's been fraud on your account. I said, you're right. I don't bank with Chase, right? It's fraud. It's a scam. You hang up the phone, right? We have people who are contacted say, this is your bank, this is your financial institution. I recommend that you immediately assume that the person speaking to you is lying, okay? Hang up the phone with them. Pull out your debit or credit card. The phone number for that financial institution is on your card. Call them yourself. So often people are contacted and they're told whatever the situation may be, and they're led to believe that some horrible thing will happen in their life if they don't act, or something great will happen if they do act, right? If Publishers Clearinghouse calls you and says that the van and the balloons and the camera's coming tomorrow, you just need to send us $10,000 today to cover the taxes, that's a scam, right? And it sounds kind of silly to say it now, but in that moment, scammers create a sense of urgency. Scammers will tell you, hey, you have to act today, right now. You have to do it right away. Anyone ever seen 3-Card Monte? 3-Card, anyone familiar? 3-Card Monte? You've seen 3-Card Monte? So if you're walking down the street and someone's playing 3-Card Monte, says, hey, sir, you want to make some money? Are you gonna put some money down? No, why not? Why not? You know it's a scam, that's right, right? One of the best things we can do about scams is just talk about scams. Share that information. Like Captain Seymour said, the information we're able to share through our app, if you encounter a scam, if you come across something and say, I'm not falling for this is a scam, no way. Let us know about it so we can share it with the people in the community. And when you are in your clubs and your groups or speaking with people in your neighborhood, let them know about these scams. even if you've been a victim. So often people say, well, I was a victim and I got taken advantage of for $200 and I don't want to tell somebody because they realize they've been taken advantage of and maybe they're embarrassed. But if you learned that that was a scam and you can share that with someone and keep them from becoming a victim, then there's a benefit in it, right? If you were contacted and someone says, this is the Sumter County Sheriff's Office and there's a warrant for your arrest because you missed jury duty, right? Can I share another secret with you? If we have a warrant for your arrest, we're not going to call you and tell you. We're just going to show up, right? Right? It's not the schoolyard games. We say, all right, I'll give you 10 seconds, and then we'll chase you. No, we're not giving you a head start. We're just going to show up and arrest you, right? We have people who are contacted, and they say, hey, you missed jury duty, and there's a warrant for your arrest, and they're going to put your picture in the paper, and no one's going to want to be your friend, and you're going to go to jail, and all these horrible things, right? So you need to go get $2,000 in Home Depot gift cards. There it is, Home Depot gift cards again. And meet us at the sheriff's office. And they'll use the name of an employee of the sheriff's office, and they'll tell you to meet them at the sheriff's office. So if they say, hey, this is Sergeant Adam Dodge, they'll Google the name and say, hey, that's a sheriff's office employee. And they want me to meet him at the sheriff's office. It must be legitimate. They have you go purchase gift cards, and then they say, hey, we need to verify you have purchased these gift cards. Send us a picture of your gift cards. All they want is the numbers on the back of the card. No one's ever going to meet you at the sheriff's office. This person's not a sheriff's office employee, but they've convinced you that if you don't act right now, something bad's going to happen. Take a moment. If you get contacted by a loved one, your grandson who says, Grandpa, do you know who this is? You go, is this little Timmy? Yeah, yes, this is little Timmy, and I sound different because I've been in a horrible car crash, but I need money for an attorney. It's unfortunate, but it's something that we see, right? So if you encounter something like that, stop, take a deep breath. Maybe call little Timmy's mom and say, hey, how's little Timmy doing? Have you talked to him? Has he been in a wreck? I talked to him this morning. He's fine. What are you talking about? Right? Be willing to communicate with your friends and say, hey, this sounds fishy. This seems a little off. They may be a voice of reason to say that's probably a scam. Okay? Has anyone heard of a romance scam before? Scary. Romance scams are scary. Romance scams happen because people are contacted. Widows or widowers are targeted through social media. They get contacted by someone and they engage in this emotional relationship. They speak every day. They talk. They share their lives. They say, I love you. And those 3 words are dangerous. They say, I love you. And they feel this emotional connection. They say, I'm dating this very nice gentleman, and he happens to be a 4-star general, and he's going to come see me next year. And you think, maybe, or maybe not, unfortunately, right? We've had people who are contacted. They create this emotional connection, and then suddenly they say, listen, I happen to be a multimillionaire, but I need $10,000 to clear taxes so I can come see you. And sometimes people say, I love you, and I want to send you this, and they'll send the money. They'll send $10,000. And as soon as that happens, the scammer comes back and says, hey, bad news, I need another 20. It's a vicious cycle. We have victims who don't want to recognize that they may be the victim of a crime. They say, this is my love, this is my life, this is the person I'm going to spend my life with. So it's always good to be aware of scams that are going on. If you are speaking with a friend and they start telling you about this gentleman they've been dating online for 2 years that is going to come see them next year but has started asking for money, hey, if you had not heard about that, you may not be aware. But now that we've talked about it, if you encounter that, you can say, hey, listen, you might want to look a little closer at that. Share the information you come across about scams, because the best thing we can do is just be aware, be alert, okay? Sheriff, would you like to talk about where we fall in crime statistics? Sheriff Breeden.
When we talk about crime statistics, it's basically the crime rate of the county you live in. Where do you think we fall out of 67 counties as far as safest counties in the state of Florida? First or second? I wish I could be honest and say first or second, but we're not. Fourth, you're getting closer. We're typically between 6 and 8. And the counties that beat us, we have a population of roughly 165,000, plus the turnpike and the interstate that comes through here that brings another who knows how many people through here a day. The counties that beat us in crime rates that are number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the counties up in the Panhandle or somewhere that have the dollar store on the corner and the gas station, have a population of about 50,000 people. So we do a really good job here, and I can't put all the credit on the sheriff's office, so I'd like to. The credit is because of the people. every time I go to one of these talks, I talk about see something, say something. People say, do you have a crime watch that comes out and rides around in the car? We don't have a crime watch. We have see something, say something. Each and every one of you sitting in this room is crime watch. If you see something that just don't look right, you call the sheriff's office and report it to it. Several years ago, the gypsy burglars were up here. It's a group that once a year they come travel around. They'll offer to pave your driveway for a small fee. Hey, we got some asphalt left over from a job. We'll pave your driveway for a certain amount, and they never show up because it always requires a deposit or something like that. But we do really well crime-wise, like Sergeant Dodge says. Thefts of opportunity and scams is our worst crimes here. We have a very low violent crime rate. As in any county, there's drugs everywhere in any county. I like to tell you we're drug-free, but I'd be lying to you. We're not. We have drugs in Sumter County, but very low violent crime rate. So, all right. Questions, Cliff? You want questions for us, or?
I don't have any questions, but somebody that is in the audience who has trouble speaking gave me a question they want you to answer. So it says, Sheriff, could you please comment on the high rate of vehicle speed I am witnessing on both Morris Boulevard and Buena Vista? In the past 2 years, I've seen many vehicles traveling at rates of speed I would estimate at 50 miles per hour. Why is there no apparent radar enforcement of the speed limit of 35 miles?
Okay. We actually do have enforcement. I don't have the numbers with me tonight, but I could tell you how many tickets and stuff we wrote.
And I'll publish them in the bulletin so the people
and I
can
used to send
see
them to
them.
Deb, and she would publish them, and we'll get them to you. And also that new program tracks some of that stuff, along with our information that we gather. We work traffic. Understand there's thousands of miles of roadway in Sumter County. There's speed all over Sumter County. I only have so many deputies to put to work speed enforcement on top of the other calls. We do our best, and every year I increase the traffic unit. One thing I did to help increase the traffic unit was, you see our traffic units that are gun toters. I implemented a civilian traffic team that investigates. If you have a minor crash or something like that, I put a civilian investigator on that, so it frees up the gun-toting deputies to actually go out and work enforcement somewhere. So every year, this past year, we added three traffic units, a motorcycle, so it's continually growing. People ask me, what is some of the biggest problems with your transition that you have to face in Sumter County? Well, it's growth. It's not crime rate, it's growth. I have to maintain hiring deputies to keep up with the growth because, as you know, Sumter County is one of the fastest growing communities in the state of Florida. So hiring deputies, training deputies, it's not like going to a grocery store and, hey, you're a bag boy, so in an hour you're bagging groceries. To be a deputy sheriff, it takes, just to get certified, it's 700-something hours. Then you have to go through a 20-week training course, riding along with another deputy before you're on the road by yourself. So it's a process. So I add traffic units every year. I got a grant for us to where, me and Cliff was talking about this earlier, I got a grant that the state pays deputies off-duty overtime pay, and it's not paid through the taxpayers' dollars, it's paid through the grant, to where they come out, work traffic details to work traffic enforcement in problems areas. And that's where the program I told you about earlier is going to be beneficial because it targets those areas for us to go out and work. So I am going to be very proactive on speed enforcement, and that's going to be one of my focuses.
I do have another question.
Yes, sir.
I know that your budget has to go through the Sumter County Board of County Commissioners.
Absolutely.
And you just said something that's really kind of important because Sumter County is growing rapidly. And with that rapid growth, you are going to need more deputies. So how has the temperature been when you up your budget so that you can add more deputies? Because that's probably the most important thing we have going right now between you and the fire departments, because we have the best public service departments in the state of Florida. We don't want to see that die.
We haven't been as controversial as the fire department, because we're kind of already in place. Our budget increase last year was about between $3 to $4 million, and we have to. If we don't increase budget, we don't have extra deputies. Because you understand, when you hire a deputy, it's a patrol car, it's insurance, it's retirement benefits. So an average deputy to put on the road costs you about $100,000 by the time you get him completely outfitted with a gun, a vest, a uniform. So we're fiscally responsible. We only ask for what we need. We don't ask for a bunch of fluff at the sheriff's office. If we ask for it, we need it to keep protecting the citizens of Sumter County. I don't go out there and ask for a crazy budget. Matter of fact, we're fixing to start our budget talks next week as far as what we need and what we want to do. And we have to be competitive with pay, because if not, you can't hire a deputy, because they'll go to the next county over where they're making more money. So, I mean, nobody wants to work for less when they can go somewhere else and work for more. So it's a battle with a budget, and that's, unfortunately, money controls the world.
I'd like to know how many people should really have access to your social security number. I called SECO once about our bill, and they said, well, your name's not on the bill. And I said, well, we both live here. And they said, well, you have to have your name on the bill in order for us to talk to you. And in order for that, to me, to get my name on the bill, I had to give my social security number. And I said, why would I give an employee at SECO my social security number? And they said, well, if you don't, we're not going to put your name on. Well, I won't even go through the rest of the story, but I eventually called back, and they said, I'm not going to, I said, my husband passed away. Now it's under my name, and I'm not going to give you my social security number. But they said, okay, give us your license number. So I thought that would be okay. So that's my one question. Is it okay to give out your license number? But really, who should have access to your social security number?
I would like to tell you nobody should have access to it, but unfortunately that's not the way the world works. Some people do have to have access to it. But when you're setting an account like that, or you're going through SECO or something, I would recommend you go there in person and meet that person in person and give them it to it. The license is better, but even with a driver's license, they can still access a lot of your information. If usually a place like SECO or some place like that's pretty safe to give it, because they're a controlled environment. When you never give it is if somebody calls you and asks for it, because if it was your banking institute or something like that, they should already have it. So, and do y'all have anything to add to that y'all know about the Social Security numbers? So, and we do a no numbers program to where we tell you, don't give out numbers. You be absolutely sure and do the research of anybody you're giving that to. Yes, ma'am.
Does Sumter County use drones?
Absolutely we do. We have 2 drones on every shift. So, and they have the capabilities of the helicopter, other than they don't have the range of the helicopter. So the helicopter is still a tool we utilize, but the drones, the reason we did them is, one, they're cheaper than flying a helicopter, and they're deployed faster than the helicopter. So,
One more question.
Yeah, I recently saw.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to know what's on your belts. What is around your belt? All of the.
Well, I have my jacket on.
Can I model?
Yeah, you can model. So.
I've been waiting for a chance.
All right. Well, here. Explain your model. I won't point it out. I'm not going to be off to you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'm wearing a Glock 9mm pistol. It's a Glock Model 45. It's a pistol on my side. Every deputy also carries spare ammunition. Every deputy's issued 2 spare magazines, which we carry on our belt. Up front, I have a glove pouch, which I carry latex gloves. As a law enforcement officer, you encounter things that you don't necessarily want to touch. Latex gloves are important. Every deputy's issued a Taser Model 10, which is this device here, worn on my belt. I also have a flashlight on my side here, as well as a Motorola radio. Okay.
And most importantly,
I have handcuffs as well. I spoke to a group recently, and they told someone, they said, well, it's okay, he doesn't have any handcuffs with him. I said, no, I have handcuffs, don't worry. And every deputy also carries a pepper spray on their belt as well. So that's kind of all the stuff that we carry on us every day, everywhere. Thank you very much.
and a vest. And none of us have them on right now, but the body-worn cameras is usually attached right here in the center. So, and our deputies, when they're public, they turn their body cameras on. Yes, sir.
I recently heard some advice. They suggested for home security that everybody probably in the whole room has this available. If you take your car keys to bed with you, you have a panic button. So if you hear noises in the garage, it'll probably scare the daylight. I just wanted your opinion on that. Is that something that you would recommend? Or?
Anything you can do to protect yourself is absolutely great. As far as the panic button, because most modern cars do have the horn button, flash to the lights, you can do all that. You'll see people walking around parking lots, I lost my car, so they use the panic button in that. So, yeah, absolutely. Anything you do. And when he was talking about the door locks a while ago, a lot of people, they'll tell you, when they your door lock, they put little short screws in there. Put longer screws in there, makes your door harder to kick in. Just simple stuff like that. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I've lived here about 10 years, and I've had occasion to interact with the Sheriff's Department a handful of times, including one unexpected at-home death. And I have to tell you, every time I've ever interacted with anyone on the staff, I have been so impressed by the professionalism and the compassion that they have shown. It isn't just your programs, it's your people too.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure glad that didn't go the other way. And, you know, talk about that. Some of the stuff we're always trying to improve is I did it, about a year ago now they've been in place, a crisis intervention team. I have a team that works out there. They're civilians. They work on shift with our deputy sheriffs. If we get a crisis call to somebody who may be in some type of mental distress, a domestic or something like that, just to where they need somebody to talk to, they respond, and once the scene's secure, they go in and help that person. Say if we Baker, does everybody know what a Baker Act is? So pretty much if somebody has, say they're suicidal, we take them into custody, we take them over live streams, they get some mental help. But when they're released, there's a lot of times no follow-up care. By implementing this program, this team will follow up and say, hey, are you going to your doctor's appointments? Are you taking your medicine? That reduces our cost for service of having to deal with that person again, and it just shows that somebody, hey, they do care about me. So it gives us that extra touch. So, right there.
I have a question about DNA and crime solving. If you have DNA from a crime and you can't get a hit in CODIS, have you ever tried using familial DNA in genealogy to research the crime, and what has been the result?
We've had pretty good results with some of it. A lot of times, if we can't, because I'm going to be honest with you, you watch these crime shows on TV, and they solve a murder in an hour, but they run to the tailgate of their truck and run the DNA, and there's the murder. It don't work like that. It's the crime. The FDLE lab is, as you probably know, because you sound like you've dealt with some of this before, is backlogged. So it may be on a homicide case, it may be 10 weeks or so before you get it back. We do a lot of that stuff with our cold cases that we work, because we have one right now to where we're hiring private companies to come in and do some stuff like that. They give us, they're a quicker response, and they do more stuff for us that helps us out like that. But I can't think of any particular case right now that I could tell you, but if you leave me your information, I can have our criminal investigation captain call you, and he can talk to you all about it, because he deals with it every day as far as what we do as far as DNA stuff. So, but I'd be glad to share that information with you, and he'd be glad to talk to you, because he loves that kind of stuff. So.
Thank you. There's one program on here that you didn't mention, the DREAM program.
That's the one he spoke with about the watch, the GPS watch. That's the DREAM program. And there's a ton of stuff on there. If you look on our website, we have autism cards. We have cards for people that are deaf of hearing. If you was to get pulled over, you can present the deputy with a card, and you can point out it has symbols and stuff like that. You can communicate with the deputy if you're hard of hearing. So there's some stuff that's not on that card that we still offer. So anybody else?
I had a question. We often see on TV companies that offer a service that prevent somebody from stealing the title to your home. And I'm wondering if the county has ever experienced somebody trying to do that.
People will sometimes try to put liens on stuff, but I can tell you here in Sumter County, we've never had to deal with that, because my take on it is, and you're basically talking about a squatter's law, and squatters come in your home. If you squat in somebody's house here, I'm taking you to jail for burglary. You're going to get arrested and go to jail. You're not going to squat in somebody's home. And is that what you're kind of referring to as the squatter's law?
No, it's a service that's offered and basically scares the public into purchasing a plan that prevents that from happening. Somebody actually going in to the county.
I do know that our clerk of the courts, I signed up for it. It was in a newspaper not too long ago where you could go online on their and sign up for it, and if any activity happens with your deed to your house or anything like that, you get notified before it actually goes through. So I would highly recommend get a hold of that office and find out how to do that.
And both Sumter Marion and Lake all have the same program.
All have the same program. So
Yep.
I guess they all got together and came up with that. So I signed up for it. I haven't had an issue yet. Hopefully, I don't think we have ever had an issue in Suffolk County, but it would be something worth to do, a little bit of insurance.
Yeah, it's just a safety. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, what's your relationship with the village's security, the guys in the white cars?
We have a great working relationship, and Chief Wolf, who is the chief over Community Watch, we work with them. We do quarterly meetings with them. We talk about crime that's going on. If we have an issue, we come to them and they let us review their gate cameras. We've solved a lot of crimes. They call us when they see garage doors open. We have a great working relationship. So and that falls back into the see something, say something. So they see a lot of stuff and they call us and we work with them and they work with us. So
actually, Nehemiah was a Sumter County sheriff for a long time
he was
here in the
lieutenant.
villages
He was the
before
Captain Seymour several years ago.
Before Captain Seymour. So, yeah, they have a great relationship. Okay, thank you. I want to thank you guys.
Thank you.
I will tell you that over the last 6 or 7 or 8 years, I've had a lot of dealings with these gentlemen. They're a pleasure to work with, and I am really happy that they are. And I don't live in Sumter County, but Marion County's good too. But these guys are extraordinary. Believe me when I tell you, we should be proud of what we have here. So thank you again. Actually, we usually have donuts at the end of the meeting, but unfortunately, Publix had an issue with making donuts today, and we don't. Well, no, they had a recall on some of their dough, so they couldn't make donuts. But we have cookies in the back and coffee over there, so we're not disappointing you. Thank you all for coming, and hope I see you next month.